welcome to London Stock Exchange CEOs series, Be Inspired. We chat to CEOs, founders and leaders who've successfully listed their businesses on London Stock Exchange and learn about their journeys. I'm Justine Zwirling, very proud mum, and I also work for Primary Markets in Israel. Today, I'm absolutely delighted to be here with Ami Danielle, an inspiring and incredible CEO and co-founder of Windward, a global leader in maritime AI. They IPO'd in London in December on our AIM market. Good morning, Ami. How are you?
I'm good, and now I'll introduce myself as a proud father as well, because I can also be proud. Why not? I had a discussion with my daughter on that, and I told her I was teaching her math, and I told her, well, that's my job. I'm her dad. And she told me, Ami, well, that's not my job because your job because you built Windward before I was born. So actually, that was your job. So we had a discussion about what's your primary job, dad or founder, and I think it's a good question because Windward is a bit of a baby for us.
I was looking at your incredible kind of growth journey, and more so about yourself. I wanted to start the discussion. I just love your strap line on LinkedIn. Born by the ocean, sailed in the ocean, now builds for the ocean. So first of all, I wanted to ask you, who are you and what makes you tick?
So first of all, what makes me tick is building things. So I'm a simple Israeli guy. I was born in Israel. I didn't spend too much time abroad. My parents were, my father used to run construction factories or operations, building stuff, basically buildings, right? And my mother worked for the Technion, which is like the institution in technology in Israel, and was dreaming of being an engineer. Well, I guess that ship has sailed, I guess. I think what makes me tick is building things and finding the combination between technology and business. Actually, I find extremely interesting to understand how new technologies open new business cases and allow businesses just to succeed more. I think some people say, are you a business person? Are you a tech person? Are you a product person? The answer is, as a founder, you're all of the above. I can't expect anybody to get the impact in the business if I don't get the impact in the business. I can't expect anybody to get tech if I don't get the tech. So it's a pretty high bar, makes you work hard, but I think it's worth it.
Amazing, thank you. Can you give us an overview kind of like of your journey to becoming a CEO?
Well, it's a good question because I think when we built the company, I didn't know the difference between a founder and a CEO. And actually for many years, there wasn't any difference because you're just an entrepreneur. You just build things and you have your team and you work together. I think probably the tipping point is probably about 50 or 60 employees. That's probably the tipping point between small team, everybody knows everything, everybody knows what everybody's doing, to you need to properly run a company, properly run a management team, properly run a strategy and execute it at scale. And actually going public in the London market really helped me, I think, figure out that even better because life's a journey and we all learn and grow. And I can also tell you a secret that I think 2 or 3 weeks after the IPO, I asked our chairman Lou Brown to find an evening to spend with me, and we had a lovely dinner together. And I came to that 3.5-hour dinner with one question: how should I be running the company different now that we're public in London versus 6 months ago? And I think it's a journey, but I think the key is you need to understand that your actions and the words go way beyond just you and what you build, because you have a team following you and you need to be consistent, clear, concise, accurate, and at the same time empower them and lead. So everybody, there's like a ton of books on this. Obviously, I read a lot, but I think it's just a journey of keep on working on yourself and being better every day.
And I know that we're all seeing, especially yourself, a heightened risk in geopolitical situations this year. And how are you helping your customers assess and manage those risks?
Yeah, so let's just take a step back. We're a maritime AI company, and I think we've been building the company according to a thesis called vertical AI, coined by Bradford Cross from Silicon Valley, that says there are general problems that general AI like DeepMind can solve, but there are also vertical specific problems, such as everything concerning the shipping and with the implications of shipping thereof, that are better solved with a combination of domain expertise and AI, and that's vertical AI. So we're a vertical AI company in the world of shipping. We work with approximately 85 organizations, from trading and shipping and energy and banking and governments, to basically help them figure out, assess risk, and be proactive on shippings and shipments and trading. So, and let me give you a few examples. Every time two of our customers, BP and Shell, buy and sell any cargo of oil or wet bulk in anywhere around the world, it has to go through the Windward platform for anything legal and sanctions compliance. And that really came up in the last 2 years or so, because before that, the regulation didn't exist. So I think that's, and obviously, I think it's a great lead-in to what's happening with Ukraine and Russia. So we help businesses with due diligence and compliance. We have governments with maritime security. We help logistics organizations with predicting where their shipments will arrive and where they are. So we have about 1 million cargo owners in the world and almost 50,000 freight forwarders. All of these are really experiencing the biggest crunch and challenge and pushback and woes of supply chain ever. So it has never in the history of mankind been more expensive to ship a box and less reliable to ship a box. I spent last week a couple of days in the HQ of one of the biggest liners in the world. It was amazing to hear them say that visibility was completely not an issue for them 2 years ago, and it's a huge issue now with 5 teams. So I think that's really where I think the demand in the world meets the tech, and I think hopefully we believe we're in prime position to help them. In terms of how does this affect the world, then I think first of all, the Ukraine-Russia war is not isolated. It's not a singular event that's happening. I think you should see it in a broader context of geopolitical pressures between China and the West, the sanctions on Iran and Venezuela. They're all deeply interconnected and influencing one another. I think in the last 2 years, we've seen supply chain crunch. If anybody has been trying to order a car, for instance, good luck with that. Most cars you can get only in a year. Actually, secondhand used cars sometimes are worth more than new cars because you don't have a choice. At this point, you've seen, I think the UN said yesterday, the prices of food are at an all-time high. I just bought tomatoes yesterday for $5 a kilo in the supermarket. It's unbelievable. And inflation is as high as it's been in years. I think the US has been talking about 7% inflation or 8% inflation. In Israel, they just ratchet up the interest rates today. So I think all of these things are interconnected. The world is one global supply chain, and everything influences everything. The prices of oil influences your petrol station and how much you pay. The demand for cars post-COVID, because the people didn't buy cars in COVID, I think, is affecting. The lack of chips is affecting. All of this is affecting. E-commerce is booming, and therefore there is more congestion. So I think all of these things together are affecting. Russia, Ukraine is affecting big time on wheat. It's a big export center of wheat. A lot of containerized goods supply chain has been disrupted because Maersk basically has written off Russia completely. They won't do business with Russia. So all of these things are deeply interconnected, and we see them going well into 2022 and probably into 2023. I hope I managed to give a long answer to a very short question. I apologize for that.
Ami, I would like your insights on what were the key drivers for you listing in London and becoming public?
Sure. So the key drivers for us for listing in London, first of all, is growth. We decided and identified a heightened opportunity for demand and for new products. We just need to invest more in the tech and distribution. And while pursuing that capital raise, we considered private options as well as different public options, including other stock exchanges. We decided that London was the favorable solution because the investor base, we felt, knows and understands our business intuitively, which I think this is the key driving element, because if the investor base does not get your business, then you won't grow. You won't raise capital, but even if you will raise capital, long term you won't grow. So I think that was one choice. The second thing is our customer base really thinks highly of the London market brand. So we've just yesterday signed a 5-year plus 3-year renewal with a big customer of ours, and one of the which is effectively an 8-year contract, right? Which is um, I think what's really interesting is that they feel that when that we're public, we're more stable, and if we're more stable, they can contract with us for the longer term. And I think we've seen that on other people as well. That I think is direct impact of the London listing and that brand. Thirdly, it provides an opportunity to bring a professionalized board into place, which I thought, as the CEO, is a really good thing, because then we can build around us the management of board that actually challenges us, but also provides industry insight. And we feel that's the right way to build a board for us. There are also founder-friendly impacts, like collapsing the share structure and having just common shares. And I think that's for founders and employees, that's very lucrative. And it also provides liquidity. We provide liquidity to a lot of people who want it. And I think it just makes it easier, and to some extent even easier also to attract talent, because let's say an executive or employee leaves the company, they can just sell their shares if they want to. And if they don't want it, they can keep their shares. But they have that option, and private companies oftentimes you don't. So I think the combination of these make London a really good choice, I think, and a really good stepping stone for furthering the growth of the company.
As a leader and a hugely respected motivator for others in tech, could you give us like your top tips for other CEOs and leaders contemplating going public? And also, how did you share the work-life balance while you're managing the business, as well as being an amazing dad and going public at the same time? I think these key tips for people are so important.
Well, I don't know about work-life balance. It's a good question. I'm not sure I have it figured out, candidly. I think for growing this business, we had to find our own approach. Unfortunately, or fortunately, nothing works for me the way it works for other people. But I think it's been working well in the last year. In terms of tips for taking the company public, actually, I think our chairman, Lord Brown, had a very good impact on that. I'm not sure I would have done that without him, and I could do this without him. Obviously, he has a bit of experience in the London market, and he's also my personal mentor. We're very close, and I think doing that, CEO is a very lonely job, and I think having a partner like a chairman like him makes a world of a difference. Obviously, I have a co-founder. I'm super close. We're like brothers, but Laura Brown led in public companies in London, and I think it was a huge benefit to have him at the helm with us and to continue having him mentor us for further growth. And I think a lot of people look at building a board as a IPO tick the box exercise. I don't. I think of it as it's part of your building your business exercise, and I think that did stand out in terms of feedback we received. Last but not least, I think you should just understand there's a bunch of things you don't know. So just accept it. Remember the goal, and you'll figure it out. If the goal is important enough, I'm sure you get the technicalities. Maybe last but not least, I think it's been fundamental and instrumental to get a strong and a good executive team around me, because I'm not alone. And when I had to focus with my CFO and my CMO on the IPO, we had other people doing a lot of business around us, and that didn't stop the company. So, and these things you need to build 12 or 18 months ahead of time. You just can't just click, push the button and get a management team. You need to build that around you. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, I think for us, this is just the beginning of the journey. We're one, as I said, in the morning of the IPO, which by the way was very exciting and very emotional for us, to see yourself opening the market in London on an idea in a company that you thought about in the basement. That's super exciting. But we're 1% done, and I think don't think an IPO is the end of the road. Think of it as another chapter. And if you want another chapter, it's a great chapter. Assuming you're ready to evolve and keep growing and building the company yourself.
So you talked about Lord Brown. Is he your mentor and your inspiration? And would you recommend other leaders following a similar path to you in terms of choosing mentors and people who inspire you, keep them close?
Yeah, by the way, I had many advisors through the years, but I think mentorship is something you need to connect on an emotional level for me. And it's also people who need to be able to take it to the next level and be willing to invest that time and resources in you because everybody's busy. But you also need to be able and willing.
And last but not least, what do you like to do in your very little spare time, and kind of what keeps you balanced?
Wow, it's a good question. So yesterday, yesterday or 2 days ago, I found myself 2 days ago at the beach with my kids, walking with my bare feet in the ocean. That keeps me grounded. So running keeps me grounded. Doing mindfulness, practicing mindfulness keeps me grounded. Reading keeps me grounded, and I have my secret sauce. I have a digital detox every Saturday, so I turn off my phone for 24 hours completely. So no emails, no WhatsApps, no Facebook, no LinkedIn, no news, absolutely nothing. I don't do this from a religious perspective. I do this from a sanity perspective. After you're 24/7 bombarded with everything, if you can take a step back and stop that for a bit, that's great.
Thank you, Amy, for sharing your secret sauce with us. Thank you for your time.
Sounds good. Thanks, Justine. Thank you for the London Stock Exchange for this great series. I actually watched a few episodes. They're really great. And hopefully this is just the beginning of our journey. We'll meet again very soon. So thanks again for having me.
Please join us to view more episodes on www.londonstockexchange.com.